Welcome to Chamber Exchange, a TV show. My name is Tim Murray, President and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Chamber Exchange, a TV show, is an opportunity for us to bring on guests to talk about issues of economic development, workforce, and the Central Mass economy. I want to thank our sponsors who helped make the show happen, which is Bank Hometown, and this year joining us as a sponsor, St. Vincent Hospital. So I want to thank them both for making the show happen. Pleased to have with us on our first segment my colleague and Dave Garvin, who is the Manager of Workforce Programs at the Chamber. Dave, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good. Well, you know, we talk about it on the show on occasion, and talk about it regularly with our members, with people in government, elected or appointed officials, that if people want to be helpful and supportive of the business community, you know, perhaps one of the biggest areas is on the issue of workforce development and training. And so maybe you could just share a little bit about what your role is as Manager of Workforce Programs at the Chamber.
Be glad to. As you well know, it's something we've heard a lot about for a long time. I mean, the number one issue for all of our members is access to talent and workforce in general. So this role was created about a year ago, and it's been a bit of a long on-ramp getting on, but once the word's out about workforce, everybody's interested because it's such an issue for virtually every business in Central Mass. So my key focus is that liaison role between Worcester business and the graduates that come out of our Worcester high schools. And that's at least where we're starting. We started off at Worcester Tech because they have 23 Chapter 74 programs.
And we'll get into that in a minute, yeah.
So it's really that making the connection and finding roles for folks that come out of those high schools and get them into career paths that they're looking for.
Right. And so, Governor Healy I think it was an executive order talking about, in terms of the state, some of the job descriptions that are going to go out are going to be, less reliant on necessarily a college degree, et cetera. We are blessed here in Central Massachusetts to have, 35,000, depending on the year of the count, 35,000 college students. But really a focus of your role is to liaison with the Worcester Public Schools, particularly the Chapter 74 career pathway programs, which we'll talk about in a moment, in businesses, because we recognize there's a fair number of our high school students who, when they graduate, go right into the workforce.
Absolutely.
And so how do we, while they're in high school, connect them with employers who we know desperately need talent and people with levels of hard skills and soft skills? The sooner we can do that, you're also opening up those young people, opening them up and educating them to these kind of career ladders that they might not realize exist.
In fact, you had Dr. Rachel Menares on, she was the superintendent, and she had mentioned that college and career. She said ultimately it's about career. I mean, whether college is included in that path or not, and it's so important. I mean, I guess we've kind of lost a little bit of focus on it. Is that there are a huge number of students that graduate high school with the absolute goal to get into the workforce and start a career. It may include certifications, it may include some other licenses and so on, but it may or may not include a formal 4-year degree at a college or even 2-year.
And so your role is working, with the unit or division within the school administration that's focused on college and career, getting very granular with guidance counselors, et cetera, but with an initial focus on some of the Chapter 74 programs. And Chapter 74 is a law, a Massachusetts law, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, so that there are specific training and a curriculum for students. They learn a traditional academic piece, but then they learn the specific skills in a vocational technical area. And
they're
deemed. You can share some of those areas.
Yeah, I mean, there's guidelines that deem it Chapter 74. It has guidelines that need to include the academic piece, but also the specific skills and information required for a given path. It could be, I mean, Chapter 74 programs. There's a ton, from automotive to culinary arts to veterinary services to healthcare to biotech. I mean, there's 23 at Worcester Tech alone,
coding.
IT. And then there's more,
robotics.
A few as others. I mean, there's...
and that's important because I think is that maybe some viewers may have this traditional kind of old school notion of what kind of voc tech education is.
Right.
Maybe it's the trades and automotive and culinary. It's all those things but so much more now. And
For sure.
Worcester Technical High School alone has 23, but the other comprehensive high schools in Worcester that you're working with also have added programs.
South High has 3 programs that are Chapter 74. North has 2. Doherty has 1.
And more
And then
on the way.
And there's more on the way. The expansion, and it's kind of a priority for the state to increase Chapter 74 programs because there is such a need out there. So it was interesting in conversations with principals and key members of Worcester Public that I would ask what's their number one interest in career path, and at grade 8, they might say veterinary services, typically because they like the idea of working with puppies or kittens and so on. And the least popular in some cases is things like manufacturing, because the old school thinking, as you just mentioned, is a dirty shop floor, and it's just not what people, parents are looking to
some of these manufacturing
promote.
Facilities are as clean as a hospital.
Some are incredible. But advanced manufacturing now is not like old, what we used to call old school manufacturing. It's advanced, and CNC machinists and
so your role is working with the employers to let them know that if you want to access talent, you've got to think about doing it in new and different ways, and that by participating in these co-op programs, because one of the elements of Chapter 74 programming is that the students spend time working in the particular kind of trade or field, Chapter 74 program they're in. So manufacturing is a great example. IT.
And it differs too, depending on what the career path is, because we have the schools they function slightly different. For instance, if you're in a culinary arts program or an automotive technician program at Worcester Tech, part of it in your second half of junior year and you're looking in your senior year, you are participating in what they call co-op. So they spend 1 week in the classroom, and the alternating week they are on the job, doing the work. And that applies to almost every one of those paths.
That's the comprehensives. They're doing it more after school, or
so you get, like North, for instance, does 2 hours every single day. So they're getting the same kind of immersion, but in a slightly different way.
Right. And to some ways, as we say to the employees, this is almost like an audition. If this employee is motivated, shows the skills, those hours can be ramped up part-time after school, summer, and then ultimately, if when they graduate, both with their diploma and their credential, and a full-time employee.
Well, I'm reminded by employers that I speak to, they when they realize that you get someone in for a week on, week off, or 2 days every single day, not only are they learning the business, they're learning your business, their business, so they know how that particular business runs, who the players are. So when it comes time to take a formal step into a formal full-time career path, it's an easy step because they understand how that company functions and so on. So there's huge advantages to bringing in junior and senior players from Worcester Public Schools.
Right, and again, there's literally, if the Worcester Public Schools are graduating, collectively across the high schools, 2,000, 2,500 students, there's a good portion of those that the moment they graduate are looking for work.
Absolutely.
And these are opportunities to kind of plug them into meaningful careers, trained, and
and I think the other benefit that we tend to sometimes miss is that a student that starts looking in junior year and starts thinking about their career path, I mean, the career path you're in and the career path I'm in and the career path that others are in might not be the career path that we left school in. There's an exploratory path. So that period of time, they get to understand what those careers are, what's entailed, what are the jobs that are part of it, what are the pay scales, what are the how does that job function, and they can make more intelligent decisions about what pathway they want to go down.
So Chambers also helped start a statewide organization called the Alliance for Voc Tech Ed, so we're promoting vocational technical education across the state. If a viewer are out there, if there's a business out there that wants to learn more, Dave, or somebody who wants to learn about Voc Tech, not just in Worcester, but the region, because many of our affiliates of regional Voc Techs or comprehensive high schools that have programs, how can they get a hold of you?
So you can contact me directly. The email is a Worcester. You can go on our website and get any of the contact information. Send me an email or call me at the office.
508-753-2924.
Do you know that number?
Yeah.
And
508-753.
And I would say there's a couple of things. One is I really want to put that message out so that if they are interested in even just exploring this and understanding what's involved,
Right.
then please get a hold of me. I would also throw out this, the notion that near the end of April, early May, we might be trying to do a little larger event, and that we're working the details out right now. But it could be an offsite event where they'll have access to interact with all of the schools and all of the programs that might be
The individuals
available.
running these programs.
And they
Yep.
can speak to them face to face and understand them and make decisions and follow up.
All right. Dave
meetings.
Garvin, Manager of Workforce Programs. Go on the Chamber website, worcesterchamber.org. If you want to get in touch with Dave and learn how we can help address some of your workforce needs, both with Chapter 74 education, but also a number of the other workforce-related programs that we are involved with. Come back for the next segment.
These days, you've got your hands full in life. That's why we help you bank simply and securely with tools like Face ID and Touch ID. It's why we make it easy to make purchases on the go and get cash back while you're at it. Why we help you quickly deposit checks wherever you are. And it's why we lend a hand with sending and receiving money right from your phone. So even when you're on the move, you can manage your finances. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.